to Two Goals. I'm Maria Laura.
And I'm Katia.
And we are on another episode of our series with Leadership Women in Football. For today, we're happy to welcome Paula Villarraga, one of those talented profiles from Latin America who are ready to conquer all. Paula is a professional player and a politics and international relations graduate with experience in the government and social impact sectors. Her experiences inside and outside the pitch are the perfect cocktail for a great story of discipline and passion. Paula, welcome to Two Goals.
Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to be here and I'm glad to share my story and to help a lot of women that are interested in these topics.
Amazing, Paula. Thank you so much. Another Colombian guest. I'm really proud. But we need to start by asking like a really special anecdote from your side, specifically about your mom's role. I read this on an interview, how she was crucial to help you, your involvement in sports and football. Could you please tell us a bit about this?
Yeah, well, what happened was I wasn't really good at school. My grades wasn't really good and everything. And she's a physician and she was involved a lot in sports. So the technique that she used to improve my grades and everything was to do everything. I did gymnastics, swimming, everything. And one of those sports that I did, what I started was football. In my school, in some others activities, a part of school, and she told me that the one mistake that she made for me to like that much football was to take me to a final in a championship in a Copa America, where Colombia was champion of that year. It was amazing, and she says that in that moment I became a fan and a lover of the sport.
Good story, and I wish my mom did that when I was young. It was completely different, but it's a great. Now we can live here the experience, and for all the moms, they can do it. At least the children, they will fall in love, be it girls or boys. And now let's talk a bit about your playing career. I will not say professional right now, but the playing career in Colombia. And one of the biggest moments that I think, because I wasn't a player, I think every player has is when they reach the national teams, starting from the youth national teams. So in 2010, you got your first call for the under-20s Colombian national team participation in the South American Championships in Bucaramanga, which probably Maria knows it very well, and she's from there. How was this first experience? Was it all you expected for?
So a little bit of context. I have been playing since I was 10 years old, but I switched my position as a goalkeeper when I was like 16 or 17. So for me to reach like 2 years after I became a goalkeeper, to reach a national team, it was like a kid in a candy store. I don't know, everything was wonderful. The trainings, my teammates, they are amazing players. They are really known here in Colombia or in Spain, some others countries, and it has been a wonderful experience for me. So that was like, at the time I realized that this is what I want to do. I want to live for this sport. I want to train harder every day as a level of our national team. So it was really wonderful.
I believe that there is something that you mentioned in the first question that now completely modifies because you said that you weren't very good during your middle school and high school, and this is why you get involved in sports. But now that you were already like really involved with it and you wanted to follow this path, it is interesting because in 2011 you went to pursue a degree in politics and international relations at Sergio Arboleda University. So first, I'm curious if in that time you actually were eager to study, different from that part before. And secondly, we have discussed a lot that even though male footballers, they do have the possibility of studying, they do have the money and the resources, there are still a lot of them who do not pursue a professional career outside football. Do you think that it is because you were aware of the lack of possibilities for a female to pursue a career or live from a footballing career, or what actually education means to you nowadays?
Yeah, I think a lot of players that are in my age or maybe under or a little bit older, they start studying because they know that football it was like a hobby or like an activity that they cannot live economically or sportly. You cannot live from football here in Colombia, even now that we have a professional league. So a lot of us start like, okay, we are playing in the national team, we are playing in the regional teams or at the university, but we knew at the time that football is not forever. An injury here in Colombia, we don't have a structure and everything. So you need something else to lay on, to not just financially, but to do something else to give you some stability with your family and everything. Some of the players that I know, they are mothers, they are in charge of the family, and we have that. It's not an option not to do something else apart of football.
Great answer, and it's really well connected with the times we are living in. Not only because of the problems Colombia is living, but let's talk it in football. Very recently, we saw, at least in Europe, a video that went viral. I have to talk about this because I got angry with that. A video that went viral in Europe, and everybody was saying fantastic activation, and this was a video from 2019, recalling the league professionalization and everything. Of course, it was a great activation, but I want to connect this with what you talked. It's not actually the truth that is happening and that happened since it started till now. And the word professionalization, it not literally means what is happening. Although some of you are professional, but we have to contextualize everything because the word does not mean the truth. If it was the truth, probably you will only play and do anything more than playing and training, and you will not be worried about other things and to educate yourself. Of course, education is always a priority, but you'll not be worried about what you need to do. But let's talk about this professionalization, and since it started this meaning and this concept in Colombia. So, and this aggregated with your pathway. Since 2017, you've played for Fortaleza FC, Atlético Nacional, and Millonarios. 2017 marked the beginning of the so-called professionalization of the league in Colombia. But as we know, that's not the truth. Can you please describe your pathway while playing for these three clubs and what has changed since the start of the league and how it is right now?
Yeah, in 2016, there was like a carnival reunion and things like that, and they decided that Colombia was going to be the first project of a professional league. So it was a little bit of surprise for all the players because we weren't expecting that much compromise, maybe not just from Conmebol, but from Di Mayor, that is the main institute of football here in Colombia. So at the time was like, oh yes, the dream is going to be true. Like we are going to be professionals here in your country. You don't have to go anywhere else and do many things together. So okay, that was the first year. I went with Fortaleza. That is not a team for the Premier League in the men, but it was a good one. They have like a partnership with my university, so I get there like easily. It was nice and it was good. But then it was like the finish of the league. It was like July, and then nothing about any news when it's going to start, anything. Then in January, I started some tests in Atlético Nacional. That is, I'm from Bogota, so Atlético Nacional is from Medellin. I went there, I did some tests and everything. I got selected there. And Nacional is a really good institute. It has a really good complex, good pitches, good gyms, everything for the players, and it was a really good experience. But the same, the league was over, and then nothing. You have like 6 months, like you don't have any news of what is going to happen with the players, with the teams, anything. And then in that January of 2019, they decided that the league wasn't going to start in January, but in like July. And it was a little bit of shock because it is easier to us to find a job maybe for 6 months and you prepare, or not to be working 4 months or 5 months, but not to work in a football or as a professional 1 year without competition, without trainings, without everything. It was like a really huge, and in that time we realized that it wasn't like a really good project from then. It wasn't like the structure wasn't, it was planned by the year by year. It's zero development, zero process in the teams. Sponsors, they didn't like that sense of, they didn't know anything at the time. And even now, one thing that I said a lot is what every league in the world live with the pandemic, we live every year with that. We don't know when it's going to start. We don't know if the teams want you, if you're going to get paid good or bad, how many months is going to be the contract, anything. You don't know anything. So I was 2 years with Millonarios, and they are a great team here in Bogota, but they like stay like with the minimum compromise. So if the league start, for example, this year, if the league start 12th of July, they are going to start paying 1st of June. So they're like really strict, just like for doing it. Not really, we're not believing in women football development, anything. So this year I was thinking to retire because I thought you cannot be part of something that you are not like believe in. I mean, I love play football. I love wake up every morning to go to training, to go to the stadiums, to have a match and everything. But what we are like leaving to other generations is nothing. Is a tournament that doesn't go further than 2 months. Competitively, like in the sport way, you cannot reach your best level. Economically, it's really hard. So this year I decided, okay, I'm going to retire. Maybe it's not going to change anything of the structure, but it's my voice to like, or is my step to do something different. And in that time, something amazing happened, and a great club that believes in football, that believes in women football, and everything came to me, and they have like everything get to place. I mean, their goalkeepers injured and everything, and the spot were able to me to get there. I haven't signed my contract, so I cannot say which team yet, but it's a really good team here in Colombia that believes really in football, and it was really like following what I was thinking in January.
Well, we're happy that this story ended better.
Sorry, it was a little bit long, but it was to explain everything.
No. Actually, that's perfect because we have had the pleasure of talking with Vanessa Cordova and Manuel Costa and Maria Jose Garcia. So here in Two Goals Podcast, we are well aware about the situation in Colombia. But that's the thing, like no one will like that kind of uncertainty. Never. I mean, I love the relations you create amongst the pandemic and your every year situation, which is that you don't know if you will get some money to live, and that's impossible. And also, how can you expect people to invest in something that is so unreliable? But I mean, at the end of the day, I think the good part, and I would like to highlight here, and this is why I think we have come to Colombia all over again with every guest, is that you did something which is create like this movement starting from the footballers, and you stop demanding and you start creating, and you are looking for those stakeholders who are really, really interested in making this a suitable project. Because at the end of the day, if you keep believing that the federation is going to change, or the institution, the really traditional institutions, that could take a while. I mean, we all know that, and this might be kind of tricky to do. But yeah, now that you mention all of these feelings that you have, this all day situation, and at the same time you have your mind on the pitch playing and also working, how do you cope to do all of this? I mean, what kind of skills have you built in order to perform professionally in football, professionally in your professional career outside the pitch, and also dealing with all of these struggles?
Yeah, it is really nice because I was in my professional field. I mean, in the politics and international relations. I liked all the ONG or international corporations and all that kind of government and everything. So when the minister came to me and said we are going to postulate Colombia as a host of the World Cup, Women World Cup in 2023, and we need someone that knows like not just the numbers and everything, but the feel, the sense, and everything like that to build that a really good proposal. So I started working with them, and I realized that that is my field. I mean, I really believe that the sports is a tool to change and transform society, and I've been working with that in the minister. And then there, because there are of sports and everything, they are really sportive. I mean, for example, this year I'm going to move to another city, so they don't have any problem for me to work in the computer to arrange my reunions or my meetings with my teammates. They are really supportive with that, not just with the football players, but with all the sport people that work there. I mean, they have people from other sports that are professionals, that are competitively internationally and everything. So they are really supportive, and it's a blessing to have that support, that you can say, hey boss, today I have two trainings, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. I cannot get with this today, but I will you will have this work with this paper tomorrow morning at first time, or something like that. Is you have to be really disciplined, you have to be really responsible, but I love the two things really much. So my experience as a football player, or as a sport person, gives me some feedback to do or to give in my work some other perspective or objectives of the project that we manage there.
This flexibility that you have is something that we all aim for, but at least for the professional players, and let's call it professional. I will continue saying that because we need to get to that status. This is what we all want, right? Being able to play and to have this professional pathway that you are building, that actually, when this is a problem of the players, men and women, is that when you end your career, if you're starting a new career outside the pitch and they ask you for 5 or 6 years of experience, I mean, it's really difficult to get it. So if you can manage both and you have that, this flexibility is the perfect situation. But actually, if our audience, they are listening and they think that you only work with the sports outside of the pitch, as you were saying, it's not the truth, at least, because while checking your curricula, we noticed you have had two experiences regarding international organizations, specifically with United Nations Office on drugs and crime, and the Organization of Ibero-American States. What are your highlights about these experiences, and do you see yourself working in an international organization focused on sports?
Yeah, what was saying earlier, it was at the beginning I studied politics and international relations because I really like the international corporations and human rights and all of these things. So I did my internship in the United Nations, and it was great. All the people is really good, studied everything. I mean, it's amazing how they see people, they see all the dynamics, perspective, everything. And then that time I finished there in 2016, So I didn't follow the path because the professional league came. So I said, it's my time. I've been playing that much. I cannot retire without playing as a professional. And I started there. I did some other works in remoter work as a remoter, because it gave me the possibility to work and train. But then I started with the Ibero-American Organization of States, and there was my first project with sports. So there was I think it's like a revelation of, you have to like mix those two ingredients that you have: your experience as a football player, as a person that loves sports and know the meaning of sports in a community, in some others perspective that could like happen in a society, and the other hand, all the knowledge, like as an organization, how to aim to get some organizations to do better this or all those things. And that I think that was the relation of you can work with this, you can get human rights in sports, you can get gender equality in sports, you can, like, it's all connected. So I tried, now that I'm in the Minister of Sports, I try to mix it every time that I can, not just like as a sport person that you have to train and train and train and know the sport, no matter what sport is. But now I'm like seeking those projects that aim not just to know the sport, but to know abilities, but social abilities, how to communicate with the others, with your parents, with the coach, how the coach influence in other lives, or in the lives of the kids. It's amazing how you can, like, how one coach can change one kid lives. And so we are focusing in that kind of change and transforming. And here in Colombia, we have a lot of cities that have violence, conflict arm, like everything. So sport is like the path that I'm seeking now, and it's been amazing.
I do believe the same. I think that Colombia, I think is well recognized as a sports country. I mean, in specific ones like football and cycling and skating. But I think it could become a great tool for building some solutions for some of the problems, social issues that we have here, which are plenty, and specifically right now, but I won't be talking about politics because, yeah, I think we are all aware of the problems we're having with the protestations. But you have mentioned a lot about your experience in the Ministry of Sport. And Katia and audiences, this is a new ministry. I think this is probably the newest one, close to the, also with the connected with the creation of the Science and Technology Ministry as well. Could you please tell us how important is it for a country like ours to have a ministry focus on sports? Do you think it means that sports is now a priority for the government?
Yeah, I think that now that we have like a minister, it's not just, of course, it's financially it's better because you have one specific pocket, to see it that way, specifically to sports. But to have a minister, you have like better connections, you have better partnerships, not just inside the country but outside. It's not the same if you are the Institute of Sport in Colombia, and if you are a minister, you get to connect with other ministers around not just in South America or North America, but Europe. For example, now I'm working with the Football Federation in Germany, and an agency of cooperation in Germany. And it's really nice because if we weren't a minister, that kind of partnership isn't the same or is not possible. So it gets more help and more experiences and more work in this item. So, for example, and you can get into more like cities, really really small, so that you cannot get earlier, because of course, Bogota, Cali, Barranquilla, Bucaramanga, that are the main cities of Colombia. But we have a lot of people in some other places, really remoter, really in need of something, a life project, and sport can become that tool and that path to get that.
Great. And I will try now because the ministry part and everything, this is more Maria part. I always joke with this, but it's actually more than the Maria's part. But this now I'm curious about one thing, that is your professional pathway as player and outside of the pitch too, which is the women's football development. And here you just announced you leave Millonarios, or you left Millonarios already, and you already dropped the bomb. You will be in a new club very soon. So we're waiting for the next chapter and waiting for you to announce it. But despite continuing playing, you're still educating yourself, completing a degree in sports management last year, and now specializing yourself in project direction and management. And with this, we can. I mean, I have to say this because we are working in women's football. We all aim to this, to the players to recognize and acknowledge that they need to focus on both parts as you're doing, but also to understand if they want to do something in football outside of the pitch, they need really to specialize themselves in this. And you already said here that you want to continue this pathway to develop sports or football specifically in Colombia. So when you take off your gloves, I don't know if it will be very soon, but at least I'm sure you're thinking of it. So when you take off your gloves, can we expect to see Paula as a leader of women's football development in Colombia? And if yes, what is your main goal with that?
Yeah, I think that is the goal. I mean, playing now is like I don't know, like something that I really love to do. But I think the main goal here is to leave something to new generations that are really benefit for them, that are really structured, that are really development. I mean, it's something more than just to play for me now. So I'm hoping that when I retire, I think the main goal here is to leave something with meaning for these girls, or even those ones that they don't know yet that they want to be a professional players. That when they decide this, they are going to have a really path and an opportunity to develop this, because it's a profession. I mean, it's not just to sign a contract and then you are a professional. It's not like that. You have to do so many things. You have to, like, with the food, with the training, with going out or not going out. I mean, it's everything around there. Your center of your life, it becomes like the sport and to train and to play. And if you are going to do that for 2 months, I think it's not worth it. You have to do it for a year, like men do. I mean, they do it in that way because it means something. It's not just the show, it's not just the money. It's because it has to be that way to work. So for women, it's the same. And here we need that. I think that aim of the institute to recognize that, if they put women football as a bad business, it's going to be a bad business. But if they structure in the way that you can put some benefits for the sponsors, for the teams, for the players, for the financial. So if you like see not just for a year or for a semester or for 2 months in this case, but if you see it 5 years, 10 years, and you project a project like it should be, it's going to be benefit for all of us, not just the players or the coaches. It's going to benefit everyone.
It is always exciting to see that you're always thinking about the future generations, for the future talents. At the end of the day, that's something really selfless to do, because I mean, I can't even imagine of all the things that you have witnessed and suffered from all these years of professionalization, not professionalization, but even before, when you were little kids playing and you struggle a lot to find a place to compete, to find your perfect position, to find coaches specialized in women. So we're always really proud to show these stories because you have worked so hard, but also because you really want to rely on a project for future generations since the very beginning of their lives. But we have discussed a lot of the difficulties and we would like to finish this interview. Unfortunately, we are closing our questions for now, but we would like to talk about football. I mean, we start with an anecdote from yourself. We would like to end on the same note. And if we all love football, we are all football lovers. We witnessed something really particular in 2014 in Brazil, something that really was like one of the best moments back then, which was related to the Netherlands playing against Costa Rica. And that moment when Luis Van Gaal swapped the goalkeepers and this changed history. And you have your perfect moment. Really, it's just exact the same. You went to the pitch, you swapped with the goalkeeper in 2019 in the quarterfinals against Santa Fe, and you stopped 3 penalties. Could you please tell us a bit about that special moment?
I think that it was a nice, not just because we keep in the competition and we won the match and everything, but I felt it like it's like a payment of all the trainings, all the process. I mean, from school, from my team, really young teams, national team, regional teams, everything, all my experience, like gave me that 15 minutes to save those penalties, and it was worth it, and it was really motive for me. I mean, I still see the videos or watch the videos, and it gets me emotional because it was that meaning, not just hey, I saved it, and I don't know, photos and everything and all the show around football, but it was okay, you gave everything to football and football is giving it back to you. For me it was that time, and it was really nice. I mean, in a sportive way to get there, and it's one of the moments that kept me like doing and training hard and still now playing. So it was a wonderful afternoon.
I mean, you said a sentence here that finishes everything on a high note. You gave everything to football, and football is giving it back to you. I mean, we can close, we can stop the mic. It's everything said, and we invite everyone to watch the video because we all live for moments like this, right? I mean, at least me and Marie outside the pitch, unfortunately, but for you, it's inside of it. So, Paula, thank you for taking the time to speak with us and for sharing your pathway, short pathway, because you're still young. You have a lot more to achieve and to conquer. Your example of educating yourself throughout your professional pathway, especially inside the pitch, is an inspiration to all our audience and for us too. So thank you for being here with us. And to all of you listening to us, don't forget all our episodes are available on the usual podcast distribution platforms. And also follow us on Instagram and Twitter with the name 2 Goals Podcast. Thank you and take care.